Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into something truly beautiful and profound: Kashmir Shaivism. It's an incredible philosophy that takes us on a journey right into the heart of consciousness itself.
All right, to really get our heads around this, let's start with a radical question, one that's at the very core of this entire tradition. Just for a minute, forget everything you think you know about reality and ask yourself this: what if the universe, what if everything, isn't made of stuff at all? Not atoms, not energy, but of pure, living, self aware consciousness.
Because, well, that's the central idea here. This philosophy says that everything you see, everything you feel, every thought that pops into your head, it's all part of one single divine conscious being. And it's not some illusion to be ignored. It's a real, dynamic expression, kind of like a cosmic dance where consciousness is just exploring all the amazing things it can be.
Okay, so let's start with the biggest picture possible. If everything is consciousness, then what is this ultimate reality? What's its nature? How does the whole thing work? This tradition calls the ultimate reality Paramashiva. Now, it's super important to get this. We're not talking about a god on a throne somewhere up in the clouds. Paramashiva is the infinite, boundless, luminous consciousness that is the very fabric and source of absolutely everything that exists. So this absolute Paramashiva has two sides that can never be separated, kind of like a fire and its heat. On one side, you've got Prakasha. That's the pure, steady light of consciousness. But here's the magic trick. That light isn't just sitting there. It has Vimarsha, the dynamic, active power to be aware of itself. This self-awareness is also known as Shakti, and it's the creative engine of the entire universe. And this dynamic quality, this constant vibration of self-awareness, has a special name: Spanda. It literally means pulse or throb. It's this primordial creative pulse at the very heart of reality. Not a physical movement, but a stirring within consciousness itself that joyfully brings the whole cosmos into being. Okay, so that's the big question, right? If you start with this one, single, vibrating consciousness, how do you get, well, all this? The incredible diversity of the world, all the different people and places. The philosophy actually lays out a stunningly detailed map for how this happens. And that map is broken down into 36 principles, or what they call tattvas. Now, these aren't just philosophical concepts. Think of them as a step-by-step flowchart of how the Infinite One systematically contracts itself, veils itself, to become the world of the many that we experience every day. The whole journey starts at the top with the 5 pure tattvas. Up here, consciousness is still totally aware that it's all one unified reality. You start with pure Shiva and Shakti. Then you get the very first flicker of an idea, a subtle stirring of will that says, "I am this," which begins to set the stage for a world that seems separate. Next, consciousness starts to wrap itself in a series of veils or cloaks. Maya is the big one. It creates the fundamental sense of difference and duality. Then, the infinite power, knowledge, and freedom of consciousness become limited, contracted into finite power, knowledge, desire, time, and space. And the result of all this cosmic shrinking? It's the Purusha, the limited individual self. In other words, that's you. That's me.
And finally, we get to the last stage, the impure tattvas. This is where it all becomes really familiar. From this primal stuff called Prakriti, everything that makes up our day-to-day experience pops into existence. Your intellect, your ego, your mind, your senses, and yep, even the physical elements of the material world. It's the full journey from absolute unity down into the beautiful complexity of our world. So that whole map brings up a huge question. If I am fundamentally this divine, infinite consciousness, then why do I feel like, well, me? Why do I feel small, separate, and incomplete so much of the time? The answer, according to this philosophy, lies in something called the 3 malas.
And this is absolutely key. These malas, they are not sins. They're not moral failings. They are metaphysical principles of contraction. Think of them as the cosmic knots or glitches in awareness that consciousness uses on purpose to have the experience of being a limited individual. It's part of the game.
So our deep-seated feeling of being limited really comes from these three layers. Anavamala is the root of it all, that primordial, nagging feeling that we're incomplete. Then Mayamala creates the world of duality, the sense that there's a me in here and a world out there. And finally, Karmamala is the belief that we are this little, limited person who is the author of our actions.
But here's the really good news. If there's a detailed map for how we forget who we are, there's also an equally clear path for how we can remember. And this path is known as the 4 upayas, or the 4 methods for returning home.
The entire spiritual path here is built around this absolutely beautiful idea called pratyabhijnana. It literally means to recognize again. And this is so powerful. Liberation isn't about becoming something you're not or achieving some new holy state. It is simply a direct, in-the-moment recognition of the divine nature that you already are and in fact have always been. It's a remembering. And what's so great is that this system offers a path for everyone, no matter where you're starting from. It begins with Anavopaya, the path of action, which uses external things like breath and mantra. A step up is Shaktopaya, which works directly with the mind's energy. Even more direct is Shamavopaya, a kind of thought-free plunge right into consciousness. And at the very top, there's Anupaya, the pathless path, a sudden, spontaneous awakening that's a pure gift of grace. And this brings us to what makes Kashmir Shaivism so unique and, I think, so incredibly relevant for us today. It is not a philosophy that denies the world. It is radically, unapologetically life-affirming. So, in this view, the world isn't some mistake we need to escape from. The body is not a cage. The entire universe is seen as the divine joyfully expressing itself in a kind of cosmic play. They call it Leela. It's real, it's vibrant, it's beautiful, and it's something to be celebrated, not renounced.
Now, for those of you who might know a bit about Indian philosophy, this is a really key difference from another famous non-dual school, Advaita Vedanta. Where Advaita often sees the world as an illusion that you ultimately have to negate, Kashmir Shaivism says, no, the world is a real manifestation, and the path is to integrate it. The ultimate reality is dynamic and active, not static and removed. So, what's the point of all this? The goal is not to check out of life, but to check in, to fully dive in. It's to learn how to recognize the presence of Shiva, of that universal consciousness, in every single moment, in every thought, every feeling, every sensation. And that makes this a path that's designed for everyone, for people with jobs and families, living right in the middle of the world, not just for monks in a cave. And this, really, is the profound promise at the heart of it all. This freedom, this liberation, isn't something you have to wait for or earn or get in another life. It is a present moment possibility. It's available to you right now just by turning your attention inward and recognizing that divine light of awareness that is your own true self.
So I'll leave you with this to think about. What changes if you start to see your own experience not as just yours, but as the universe itself waking up to its own magnificence through your eyes, your feelings, your mind? What if every single moment is just the divine recognizing itself? Thank you so much for joining us.